Back in 1998, we all know that Bud Paxson of Paxson Communications launched PAX TV. A lot of game show fans know it because it had such good revivals of Supermarket Sweep, the Pat Finn Mall version of Shop Till You Drop, but also had a lot of other shows there as well, and we're going to talk about two of them, one of them now and one of them later. Some of the last gasps from the PAX network, because around this time, a lot of things were happening with PAX that caused a lot of stuff to go down and have it take a much different turn to what we know. What PAX was happening in the early 2000s to what would happen to them in the mid to late 2000s and even now. And one of those shows is a game show translation of a board game that honestly is pretty darn good. Let's talk about Balderdash.
Hey, I'm Regan Burns, and I know that Gary Busey loves to make model airplanes. Actually, he's only made one, but for some reason he needed 47 tubes of glue.
Hey, I'm Teresa Strasser, and I know that Cher is a member of the Adult Peanut Butter Lovers fan club. Her favorite brand is Skippy, which is also the name of her last boyfriend.
I'm Andy Kindler, and I say that Quentin Tarantino is an amateur ventriloquist. I saw him perform at a club once, and it was odd. He kept interrupting the dummy to launch into a rambling monologue about the history of film.
Who's got it right? You'll find out tonight on Balderdash.
Balderdash debuted on PAX on August 2nd, 2004. Hosted by comedian Elaine Boozler, two contestants must decide if the answers given by a panel of three celebrities are either true or balderdash, i.e., they're making it up. Or it was something made up for them, you know, writers and stuff like that. We've seen these type of shows before in game show history. The most direct ones here in the States that compare to Balderdash would be the Liars Club or Wordplay. The question about this show is as follows. Does this show stand up on its own as being a good show? And this is what a show like this, i.e. 26 weeks or less, is supposed to figure out. And something that did interest me and why I think it did stand up on its own, especially in terms of ratings, was how the set evolved from the beginning to the end of its run. When the show made its debut, you saw this bare bones style set. You had monitors, the podiums, the panel spot, and little else in regards to making it somewhat appealing to the eye. It felt like a throwback to cable game shows past. It's not to say the set was bad, it just felt a bit basic. Granted, the show at the start was probably on a budget closer to that of a high school production of Romeo and Juliet. Later on, though, they would darken the set a bit, add some better lighting, and make the set feel a lot more important. It was a better looking set and it felt like a show that was doing well enough to afford the upgrades. Something that kinda didn't improve in my eyes was the host.
Starring Elaine Boozler.
Thank you so much. This is Balderdash, and we're so proud to announce that our director is leaving to become the coach of the Lakers. Okay, well, anyone here want to take over?
The host of the show was Elaine Boozler, longtime comedian and actress and overall amazing person. No, I'm serious. Check out her life story. It's pretty impressive, especially the bit about Andy Kaufman and her animal rights activism. As for her work here, I'll just say it just wasn't to my tastes. Her bubbly, motherly style that she had here may have worked on another show, but not here. On a show like this, the idea is that you have three jokesters to do the gags, while the host portrays the straight man, so to speak. In this show, all of them were kind of doing gags, and to me, that part didn't work. What did work, however, was the format. Elaine would give a category and a little blurb about it. The three celebs would then respond with the answer to the question and give a little line about it. The contestants have to pick a celeb and guess whether it's truth or balderdash. Balderdash pays off at even odds, while trying to select the truth pays off at 2-to-1 odds. So if you played the board game at home, namely the bigger version beyond Balderdash, which added crazy local laws and unknown movies that you've seen wrestled on MST3K, you know, that type of quality of movies, it's pretty much the show. Simple, straightforward, and to be honest, it uncomplicates the board game scoring system, which I like. The first round stakes each contestant 250 points, and plays one question, with the contestants having to wager those points on whether a celebrity's statement is true for Balderdash. Second round is 2 questions and stakes each contestant an additional 500 points on top of what they finished with after round 1. These measures help prevent runaways, and also if a contestant makes a big mistake and loses their bankroll, it becomes the safety valve that makes sure the game flows smooth. Also helping is the final round, which stakes the player an additional 1,000 points. They must bet at least half of them, and also search for truth only. Most points after that round wins and plays the bonus game for a shot at a trip. The first game might not be the most original, because it kind of apes Liar's Club and wordplay note for note, but the option to search for Balderdash or truth in the first 3 rounds is a good wrinkle to have, and differentiates it from other shows. Forcing them to pick truth at the end is fine by me, as that's what you're supposed to do in the board games. The bonus game is known as the Balderdash Barrage. In this game, Elaine reads a statement with the last part of it being completely wrong, and it's the contestant's job to give the correct answer to make it true. If they don't know, they can say pass, and their celebrity partner that they pick at the beginning of the round can pick it up for them and get it right. Each right answer takes off a letter in the word Balderdash that doesn't have the trip behind it. If they can get 9 right in 45 seconds, they win the trip automatically. If not, they pick a letter from the word Balderdash that is still up there and can still win the trip if it is behind the called letter. If they don't find the trip, they still win a nice prize for winning the day. Usually it's a shopping spree or another nice item. So yeah, it's aping the Galtman villains from Woo and the Endgame from Hollywood Squares when Henry Winkler took over. And you know what, that's not a bad thing in my eyes. Both Endgames were good, and combining them together made for a fun and entertaining Endgame for the show. Honestly, this is the part where Elaine Boozler does shine, as she keeps up with the time and gives the contestants a fighting chance to win. So that was Balderdash. And you know what? I call it a really solid B-tier game show. I enjoy the format. I think the endgame is really good. I love the set evolution that the show had during the course of its run. Elaine really wasn't my cup of tea, but I know a lot of game show fans out there thought that Elaine was a good fit for this show. And I would say go search it out. It's not going to blow you away by any stretch of the imagination, like a Liar's Club or a Wordplay would. But you know what? It's a solid game show, and you won't be wasting your time watching it. Now, why did the show only last 26 weeks, you ask? You know, I'm going to save that for the end of our next show on 26 weeks or less, because we're going to be talking about Balderdash's partner show, in a ways, in On the Cover. And after that, I'll give some theory as to why I think PAX went down, having to cancel not only Balderdash, but On the Cover, and the really cheap to produce JD Roberto Megastore version of Shop to You Drop. Well, call it a tease, but you know what? I gotta find some way to get people to stick around and watch these videos. That's gonna do it for me. I thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And if you have a show request for 26 weeks for less and you want to help grow the channel a bit, help pay for some new stuff, like some new home games that we have for the home game, like right here, this is the travel edition of Wheel of Fortune. We actually shot something for this, for the home game. This was thanks to the people who watches us on YouTube and support us on Patreon. This is a direct input from it, so we thank you all for that. Also, go to patreon.com/gameshowgumbo, and you know, a few bucks a month, even $1 a month helps go a long way and helps afford new shows and DVDs so I could put stuff on, or trade so I could get new shows to talk about. Well, that's gonna do it for me. I'm Cindy Settlement. Until next time, boy.